Hi everyone, just checking that you can hear me now. Looks like we had a little glitch with the sound system. I'm very sorry for that problem. I think we're good now and we're ready to roll. Hopefully you guys are still tuned in. My name is Seb. I'm one of the founders here at Melting Spot. I'm super excited to take you through our topic today. Sorry again for um, glitch system. Feel free to give me a thumbs up if you can hear me fine. The topic we're going to discuss today is software adoption, and we'll be taking it through a particular angle, with the angle of training. Essentially, we'll help you better drive software adoption by providing the right level of training to your users. And so let me share my screen now and make sure that you guys can see my presentation. Hopefully, we're good to roll. Can you give me a thumb up if you can see the screen? I think we're good. Cool. Let's dive right into the topic. So we're going to keep it short and sharp. So I want to stick to schedule. I want you guys to get an opportunity to ask your questions as well as we go. I want to introduce this chat with a few observations. Essentially, a few numbers I want to share with you guys. The first number is a pretty daunting number. It's the average number of days lost each year due to poor software usage by B2B leaders. So we tend to use a lot of software products, but for lack of adoption, we waste a lot of time. And so there is tremendous opportunity here to drive adoption within the B2B SaaS landscape. 23% is the average number of features actually used by B2B SaaS leaders when purchasing a software. So this is also a number that sounds pretty appalling. We need to get this number up. 29% of employees in the workplace feel disappointed with their tool stack. So our product teams keep shipping great features, but on the other side of the spectrum, there's users not really adopting these features and feeling disappointed about their tool. And 50% of software users feel they have not received the adequate training. So I think that's where the rubber hits the road, and that's what we're going to focus on today. By improving the level of training of your users, you'll be able to improve the percentage of product adoption and eventually improve user satisfaction and eventually improve retention and business metrics such as your NRR and reducing your churn. So this is a chain of events that we're going to try and explain how things work today. Before we dive into the solution, I want to emphasize what the problem feels like when we speak to SaaS professionals, in particular customer success leaders in B2B SaaS. They feel that there is a lot of material for their users to get to grips with the solution, but all that support material is scattered across a number of different platforms. And so if you feel that you have resources scattered across your email templates, tutorials in your help desk, maybe an e-learning platform sitting somewhere far from your product and that your users are hardly ever using. Maybe your CS colleagues are speaking with customers, trying to get them on board. Maybe you're hosting meetings with your customers to like learn how teach them how the platform works. So all these resources exist, but they are somewhat not consistent, and most importantly, they can't be found inside the software, which is absolutely critical if you want to make sure that your software is adopted. So a lot of content just not positioned in the right place, meaning that you hit the target and your users are not actually adopting the platform. The way to address this, there's a number of traditional ways, and then there's an alternate way that we want to focus on today. Like traditional solutions are as follows. The first one is probably using a digital adoption platform to do like step-by-step guidance throughout your product. Good enough, but probably not actually like hitting the target. It doesn't really fit the need of software, complex software, where there is more than just step-by-step guidance needed, but actual training. This is why you should be my software, CRM software, my finance software. This is what you get from it. This is how other customers are using it. This can't live in a step-by-step product role. This needs actual training materials, and that's where learning management systems come in. They're really good, but they're also often very complex, and they tend to live outside of your software. There you're trying to train users of your software. You're not trying to train employees or partners far away from your product. Your users live inside your product. That's where you need to train them. And that's it. End of the story. That's what we believe in. So that's why we're going to talk to you about in-app learning. Manual training is another option. It's in red because we believe that it's definitely not the most scalable option. You can't just hold the hand of all your customers at once. There is some level of training that can happen one-on-one or even in real life sometimes for like typically high-touch customers. And this might be useful, but surely this can't be your go-to adoption strategy. Um, the solution in our sense is to deploy in-app learning, which consists of training users continuously directly within their flow of work when they're using your software. This is something that we want to discuss at large today. The idea is that whatever solution you're using, and I'll be sure this email to explain in a moment, needs to connect with your software so that it knows who's actually using the solution. Identify user gaps. So typically, this new user hasn't used this particular feature. I know it, and I'm going to present a particular resource material on the right page to take them through this particular feature, and then deliver content or learning path directly within the software. And so you map the gaps and you assign each gap with a particular resource that you can push directly inside your product. That's how proper onboarding needs to happen. Not necessarily lengthy onboarding sessions with your customer success managers, but just spot on, like perfectly fitted onboarding content presented in the flow of work for your users. I'm going to take an example. And before I dive into this example, I want to take questions as well because I think there's a number of questions from the audience. There's someone asking um, how you decide where to place widgets in your product to maximize adoption for each feature. I just touched on it, but essentially, if you know which features are underused in your product, this is probably something you can get from your product analytics platform, or simply from your product team or your support team. If you know that particular feature needs support, then that's where you need to add training materials. And there's a number of different formats you can leverage, but surely getting data from your product analytics can help like identify the right gaps in your product adoption. There's also another question around how you personalize in-app learning for different user segments. Um, that is a really good question. Um, I believe there's no one-size-fits-all training strategy or product adoption strategy. If you have that one big playbook for onboarding all your customers, then I dare say that you probably want to ditch the playbook. It's probably not personalized enough. It's fine to have generic content inside that playbook, but you need to have one like learning path for each customer segment. There's a number of ways you can segment your customer base. Typically by customer profile, you might have admins or standard users among your user base. That's probably where you need to. That's probably a good segmentation criteria. Also, maturity and typically the date your users signed up with your service is a good criteria. If they've been with you for over 3 months, they're probably past the onboarding phase and they probably need more ongoing education or new feature presentations when there's a new feature that's rolled out. But they're beyond the onboarding phase, so they need specific content. So 100% you should be segmenting your audience and presenting the right content for the right segments. And the platform you're using should help you do this. Let's take the example of a CRM software. I picked this example because it's a complex software. It's a good example of why learning matters when you're trying to drive adoption. Um, and let me show you how this works. So give me just 1 second. I'm just bringing up my screen now. Just hold on. Because of my sound problem, I had to duplicate my screens, and I need 1 second to get it fired up. There we go. Awesome. Got it. Okay. Um, let's just check that you're seeing my screen fine. I think we're good. Awesome. So here I'm going to present how a typical in-app learning experience can look like. So assume I'm new to this like CRM product. Here we're using HubSpot, which is like a major CRM product. So you might be very familiar with HubSpot, which is why we're using this example. Assume I'm new to the software. I don't really know where to click, what to do. What Melting Spot can help you do is create targeted, personalized learning path that you can then push to your user segments. So typically by adding a little beacon inside the experience, when hovering over the beacon, I get a glimpse, sorry, of what content is available to me personally. And I can click on that content, which will surface a learning path with a number of different pieces of content to help me get started with the product. So great for onboarding. Typically, I have this 5-step onboarding process that I need to follow if I want to learn how to use HubSpot. I can mix up a variety of different formats. You don't have to go reading only or video only. You can go typically e-learning with a mix of text, videos, screenshots, photos, even quizzes if you want to gamify the experience. Obviously, in the back office, I'll show you what the back office looks like in a moment. You can track who's been doing what, so you can very efficiently track who's been actively like following your onboarding content, who stopped halfway through, and you can message them as well from the Melting Spot platform to tell them, hey, you started taking this getting started course, don't stop halfway through. This is like your way to more efficient usage of our product. And so that's the first format that you can leverage. You can also go with traditional articles, typically to focus on particular feature, just explaining how it works, provide some level of information on a particular piece of your product. And the last format that you can leverage, and we really like this format as well, is live learning. So typically, if you want to onboard your customers, let's say within maximum 10 days, you might want to give them access to e-learning courses for the like first 5 to 6 days, 1, 2, 3 different courses, and then give them an opportunity to join a real live onboarding session delivered by one of your CS specialists, or maybe one of your product marketing specialists delivering a demo of the solution so that they can ask questions live if they have any questions. This really makes up for a real engaging, super efficient onboarding process, mixing up e-learning on-demand materials and live interactions with your customers. It helps keep that human interaction with your users and yet offer a self-service experience. So these are the different formats you can leverage and push as part of a learning journey in Melting Spot. On the flip side, so on the admin side, if you click here as an admin, you can access the console where you can create your content, you can create your live demos, your live onboarding session, assign the right participants to your content. So typically, if this is the demo targeted at new customers, you might want to add as participants. You can invite only specific groups and only go with the newbies groups, so customers having signed up with your product less than, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And you can use this cohort. You can use this sort of segment, sorry, to assign the right content to the right groups. So that lives courses are also created from this uh, admin panel. You can create your courses from scratch or using our AI assistants, leveraging live replays of real onboarding sessions. So typically, if you host a live onboarding session for all your users on a particular account, say, and some Coca-Cola users were not able to attend the session, turn the session to an e-learning module, like a four-step e-learning course, including a quiz to gamify the experience. So better than a replay, you can craft tailor-made e-learning modules using our AI. You can also create another type of training content, which are user forums. Forums can be really handy if you want to let your customers ask questions around the product and get answers from the user community. On the front end, I haven't showed you this, but it looks like this. That I'm navigating my CRM, and I'm trying to build up a report. This is a complex feature. I don't really know how to use my report. I can click on a beacon like this and start open a forum panel where I can see questions from other users, filter by score, and grab answers from other customers. So perfect to reduce support tickets on specific features, and like creating pockets of discussions around that particular feature right inside your place. So that's the last training material, last training format, right, that we spoke. So going back to the back office here, the last I wanted to show you is how you manage your audience. So essentially, Melting Spot is available to all customers signing up to your products, logging in. Once they're logged in, when they click on one of those beacons, one of those widgets that I presented, they get automatically logged inside Melting Spot. We know who they are, and then they're presented the right content in the right widget. And as an admin um, manager, you can create groups, um, static group or smart groups. And when you go automated, you can add specific filtering conditions like by profile, as I mentioned earlier, or by accounts. Let's say you want to create a group for all Coca-Cola users. Using your product, you can create a group with email contains Coca-Cola, and then automatically all future Coca-Cola users will join this group and have access to all the resources that you specifically created for Coca-Cola. So that's how you manage your audience and present personalized content to your customers. So that's essentially that's what I wanted to show you today, and show how Melting Spot works. If you want to dive deeper into the solution, feel free to drop me a note in the chat, and I'd be happy to jump on a one-on-one demo personally, or one of my salespeople will take you through the platform. Let me just check questions. I think there's a few questions from the audience that I want to make. Okay, just one second. Feel free to, again, drop your questions. Give me just one sec. We're live, and so I want to make sure I'm not letting any questions slip the net. So here we have questions from okay. Question around the adoption ROI of rolling out in-app training platform like Melting Spot, and what metrics matter most. That's a really good question. To be honest, it's the it's somewhat complex, but super powerful. The way education can drive product adoption and eventually drive business metrics um, is is um, is really astonishing. So the way to track this is essentially that all melting spot activities are tracked, can be synchronized with the CRM. We have native integrations with HubSpot, soon to come Salesforce, so you can track um, what every single user of your product has been doing in terms of education and training. Let's say they have completed course um, A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. These two course completions will be tracked in your CRM. You can then create an education score by assigning weightings to these activities. Let's say 20 points for completing a course and 30 points for attending a live webinar. And you can create workflows like notify your team when a specific threshold has been hit so that you know that your customers have been properly trained. And you can then you can average out the education score of an account by like calculating the average score of all users associated with Coca-Cola. Let's take this example again. And you can then derive an average education score and map this to your business metrics. And and you can use this to prove correlation between effective education and business and product adoption, as well as business metrics. So there is a really powerful correlation to be proven between how your customers educate themselves around your product, read your articles, take your courses, attend your webinars, how they adopt your product, and you can get this information from your product adoption, from your product analytics platform, and eventually map this to your MR or other business metrics that your education strategy has been successful. So really, really good question. Thanks for asking this question. But yeah, definitely a super interesting topic. I think we have other questions as well. I probably won't be able to take them all, but um, can in-app learning fully replace traditional training methods like one-on-one onboarding calls, in real life sessions? I touched on it at the very beginning of this session, but in my view, um, there is no like one size fits all onboarding strategy, but there should that there's always some level of self-service training that should be deployed because there's always some level of generic content that you don't want to repeat and repeat again and again. So even if you want to hold the hand of your like high touch customers, you might also want to let them typically take a pre-onboarding course. If you want to onboard them one-on-one, you might want to offer an e-learning module to make sure that they're on top of the basic concepts of your product before they show up in your onboarding session. It will be much more efficient. And so, in my view, these two like traditional methods are complementary to learning and digital onboarding solutions. So, yeah, 100%. Doing both is probably the right way to go about onboarding your customers. I don't want to hold you up for too long. I know we started a bit late, but I think we're getting to the end. I just want to share a few more thoughts um, to conclude. Feel free to ask questions. If there's a few more questions, I'll be happy to take them. So, uh, Um, we just touched on it, but summarizing the benefits of effective in-app training to drive product adoption. Um, they're essentially like continuous learning, as opposed to product tours or step-by-step guides. Having real training facilities inside your software can help you take your users to the next feature and the next feature. And as you keep adding new features, you can continuously train your users to make sure they're on top of your product. Obviously, improved adoption is an obvious benefit of effective in-app training, as well as better satisfaction. As I mentioned, this really helps keep the human component as well of customer success while delivering at scale by like hosting live webinars, speaking with your customers, like taking their questions, but in a scalable uh, fashion. Um, that's the end of this presentation. Thanks again for tuning in. Sorry for taking so long to fix the issues, but we got there eventually, and I'm glad we had this session. I'm glad we managed to turn it around. Thanks for your understanding. If there's any question, like specific in training or specific to melting spot, I'd be really happy uh, wherever you uh, logged in, be it YouTube or platforms. Drop me a message and I'll get back to you and we can organize a follow-up call. Thanks again for your time, and look forward to hosting more sessions. We have more sessions coming up in November, early December, sorry, on December the 2nd. We'll be focusing on CRM training. I've demoed what in-app training can look like in HubSpot, but we're going to dive into more use cases, speak about Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics in particular. So if you're interested in this particular session, the tuning. And yeah, I'll see you around. Thanks for your time and speak to you soon. Bye bye.